I've been wanting to make this video for a while, but I wanted to get my thoughts in order first. Unfortunately, I think by the time that happens, it's going to be pretty irrelevant. It's already been about a week since the election, and I just wanted to get my voice out there. I can't wait any longer to start talking about stuff like this. I want to get my voice out there and say that I am a transsexual, and I'm happy that Trump won the election. I'm not scared for my future. I actually am looking forward to where this is going to take us, the country as a whole. And I feel really sad for the people who are genuinely terrified that their whole lives are going to change for the worse. Part of the reason that I'm particularly looking forward to these next 4 years is, well, I guess a big part is that my, I guess you could say trans identity is not everything about me. You know, I am a biological female who happened to grow up with gender dysphoria for as long as I can remember. And I took steps to alleviate that, some medical steps, and by virtue of that, I am considered transsexual. But that's not my entire identity. It's hardly part of it, to be honest with you. And there are things that I am more concerned about than some letter in the middle of a bunch of other letters. I remember the economy 4 years ago and how much easier it was to afford gas and groceries, and I'm looking forward to seeing something similar. It's been a struggle for a lot of us this year, these past 4 years, I should say. I come from a family that's pretty comfortable financially, and even we're feeling it as we buy essentials and pay taxes. So I can only imagine that people who aren't in the position that my family is are hurting even more. I'll say that one's the one I'm most focused on, is economic stuff, because that's the one that affects me directly. But there are other things that I look at, that I see online. Teachers who tell their young kids all about LGBT blah 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 stuff, and people encouraging these children to question their gender identity and to, try something new and be something different. And it doesn't hurt, of course, to look into yourself as a person. I mean, especially as kids, we're all growing and we're all learning about ourselves, but something as serious and as fixed as sex, as biological sex, which we can have a whole argument about the difference between gender and sex and et cetera, et cetera. I'm not here for that. But it's going to confuse kids, and especially during such formative years, not even just as little kids, but teenagers. It's so dangerous. And that's one thing that Trump has specifically said, is he wants to stop stuff like that in school. Not just stuff like that in schools, but like critical race theory and other, I guess what you could call woke agendas. And he wants to stop medical transition for minors, which I wholeheartedly agree with. I mean, if you asked me when I was 13, 10, younger, if you'd come up to me and said, "Hey, Fallow, you want to be a boy?" I would have said yes in a heartbeat. I'm one of the few exceptions of someone who grew up to be an adult, to make that decision on my own. There's other things I wanted to be as a kid. I wanted to be a psychiatrist. I wanted to be a vet. I wanted to be a cat. That's a whole thing for another day. But as children, we don't really have the mental capacity to decide for ourselves what we want to be in 10, 15, 20 years. And we certainly shouldn't be taking permanent steps that can do serious damage in order to solidify what a child thinks of themselves now. On top of that, Trump has also talked about how he wants to stop government agencies from promoting medical transition, which I also wholeheartedly agree with. If it's something that someone grows up with and they desire it so much that they're willing to seek it out, as an adult they can make that decision. But I think right now it's very dangerous that it's being promoted one way or another as a fix-all. And of course, we can't stop your average citizen on, say, TikTok or YouTube or Instagram from putting themselves out there and saying, "This fixed all my problems, maybe it'll fix yours too." But the government absolutely does not need to be involved. Additionally, Trump has talked about some of his policies that he wants to put in place to protect free speech, which I'm a huge advocate for. And like I said, I'm just doing this off the top of my head right now, so I don't really have anything to go in depth about in that area. I'd like to, though. But I'm a big fan of free speech. I like that people can say whatever they want as long as, it doesn't actively harm another person. And just to clarify, quote unquote misgendering is not violence or anything along those lines. And yes, this includes hate speech. Yeah, that's just my kind of scrambled thoughts. I'm Fallow, and welcome to my channel, I guess.